Welcome to Grip Grind Glory, where grapplers train with purpose and grow through the grind. And now, your host, thought provoker, and fellow grinder, Anna Janovics.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Grip Grind Glory. This is episode 19 called The White Belt Who Doesn't Care About Belts. And I'd like to promote a very short disclaimer straight off the bat that it's not that there is anything wrong with the grading path. I just think that there is another path in Judo that's not recognized or maybe even looked down on. And I believe that this is the rawest and most traditional path, which is just do Judo for the sake of learning and growing and belonging. And so I would like to say some things about it myself in defense of those who belong to this tribe of mine. I am a white belt and people look at me differently when I say I'm not interested in grading. But I must tell you that this is freedom in its purest form, my friends. So the people I'm going to talk about today are not beginners, but they're also not chasing grades or the next belt color. They just show up quietly week after week, and not because there's a grading coming up, but because training itself is the feedback. You know, it may be you, it may be someone else in your dojo. You might have not even met a person like this, these crazy people. And we're not there to prove anything, but we're still, learning, growing without the physical proof. And we measure progress by how we feel after training and not by what's our grade. And that mindset is something special. It brings you back to what Judo was always meant to be, showing up, learning and growing for yourself. Simple as that. No medals, competitions, rankings, just the practice and the way it changes you. This is what Grip Grind Glory also stands for, by the way. And as we all know, Grip Grind Glory is the place for underdogs. You just have to let me speak up for the evergreen white belts, if you don't mind. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So I'll start by saying that when you stop caring about grading, something really interesting happens, which is that pressure disappears and you start noticing things that used to slip past, how your balance feels different, how your timing clicks, how you breathe through a throw instead of tensing up. Now, I'm not saying that when you're getting ready for a grading, these things don't show up. I just think that we're so focused on getting the next grades that we might not necessarily focus on these things that are really the things that Judo gives us. When you stop asking, am I ready for my next belt? What else is there to learn to get to the next grade? It doesn't matter in this world, in this universe. It's not even a topic to talk about, because you start asking that, what did I learn about myself today? How did I move differently? How did it go for me today? And that's pretty liberating, and that's focused on your own growth rather than trying to fit into a mold, rather than trying to, prove yourself or based on a system. Am I good enough based on this system? It's not about that. And because chasing the next belt can easily turn Judo into a checklist. Learn this throw, do that, pass this test, get your next grade, start over. But when you remove this external timeline, it's only you. And you start to train for something deeper, which is your own rhythm, your own feeling, patience, composure. It's like, when you run without a watch, you notice the run instead of the numbers. And it's exactly the same thing in Judo. Once the grading goal is gone, the awareness goal appears. You want to be aware of your own self. And we adults love data. I get that. That's just, our brains work so much better. We live in a data-driven world and we want to measure everything. and data to tell us how we do, instead of just checking in with ourselves and define how we actually do, which I think is crazy, but people seem to love being told what they should feel and think. We measure now everything, steps, calories, productivity, time, sleeping quality. You just wake up and feel like, I slept good. No, I didn't sleep well last night. But we just like this proof. We want to cling on it. And we also want to see improvement and chat it, post it, discuss it, challenge it. But real progress, the kind that actually sticks with you, is, it doesn't fit into these numbers and onto those charts. For example, for these adult white belts, progress often looks like, getting back up without feeling like you'll burst into tears, or recovering from frustration faster, or not even getting frustrated anymore, smiling where you used to panic. And this is invisible growth, but this is the kind that actually changes you. And one of my favorite things to see in class is when someone realizes that feedback isn't something the coach gives. It's something the body tells you. Your own body is telling you stuff. You just have to listen. The moment when people say, I can feel I did better, even if nobody else noticed, that's the whole point, that they can feel it. Because every time you get up and go again, you're building self-trust. That's the whole point of it, I think. And once you've built self-trust, you don't need constant external proof anymore. Now, some people hear, I don't care about grading, and think it's arrogance or apathy, but it's neither. I believe it's humility. The kind, that says, I don't need a belt to validate my practice. And I always say this, and I love saying this. I don't need I don't need someone to tell me how well I'm doing. I'm one of these people, so, I could talk to you about this mindset non-stop, but being on the grade ladder may be also something that people consider goal setting. So obviously that's also a valid standpoint. I'm not going to go into that. Just let me tell you that when you let go of this timeline, the ego starts to loosen, and you move better because you're not trying so hard to be impressive. You listen more to your body, so you force less as well. And it's a paradox, actually. The moment you stop chasing visible progress, you actually progress faster because you're finally relaxed enough to learn. So for me, the new way or the other way to measure success is feeling it. Your feelings don't lie. The feeling tells you when you're forcing, when you're flowing, when you're present or when you're not. And, no one really cares whether you breathe during groundwork. You just feel it. Or no one will hand out a belt for, staying calm when someone twice your size spins you. But you did. And that feeling, that quiet self-recognition is worth more than any belt ever will. So the goal of judo, for me, isn't to be ranked, but it is to be aware of movement, of pressure, of self, of yourself. And if you can walk off the mat sweaty, a bit bruised, and say, I handled myself so much better than last week, that's the feedback loop. And that's all you need. That's the grind turning into glory. So if you're training for the feeling, not the grade, stay with it, because it doesn't mean you're not, you're behind. You're just doing the real work, which is showing up, sweating, listening to what the grind has to teach you. And you are earning something invaluable, something no grading can ever give, which is self-respect. And that's the kind of glory we talk about here. So that's a wrap for today, my friends. I'm sure we will circle back to this idea of being a white belt forever and after, because I love this. I'm really passionate about my white belt. Thanks for tuning in, listening to me, and following us on social media or handle on social. If you're not following us, please do. Our handle is Grip Grind Glory on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. And please also do the poll below the episode. What drives you to train? The feeling after class, the next grade in our goal, community and belonging, or learning to trust myself. I would really appreciate your insights. And also, just message us or let us know you're there. We really appreciate your support, guys. And I will be back in 2 weeks. And that's going to be an interview with one of my teammates who is a white belt and is going to be a forever white belt by the looks of it. So I'm really excited to interview her. And until then, let's grip, grind, and glory. Bye.